Hey yo, what's going on? Lauren Sisler here with AL.com, hanging with my buddy Mike, the real McCoy. Mike played receiver at Alabama. He's the real deal. He also hits the weights, trains a lot of people at Maximum Performance in Bessemer. Go check him out. He's pretty awesome. So we're going to get into this thing. We're going to break down the Alabama-Florida game as they get ready for week 4 of the college football season. Here we go with head-to-head.
Let's go now, oh, now, oh, let's go now, oh, can't stop us, oh, let's go now, oh, now, oh.
All right, so Alabama survives one in the swamp. The final score, 31-29. And I was not at that game, but I could literally feel the heat and humidity dripping off of the TV, my friends.
Yes.
I could feel it.
Yes.
It is the real deal. The swamp is the real deal. I could feel the environment. Such a fun place, such a great place to play. You played in the swamp.
Yes.
And you gave us a little bit of an idea of what that was like last week, but did you get flashbacks watching that game?
Yeah. SEC championship all over again, 2 years in a row, so for me, I was excited. I like close games. It kept me on the edge of the seat. It keeps you engaged, unless you see the real juggernauts going head-to-head with each other.
So obviously, Alabama jumps out to a quick lead, 21-3. So we're all sitting at home thinking like, okay, Alabama's going to do what they do best.
That's right.
They're just going to run up the scoreboard. They're going to take care of business. And then they didn't. And all that to say, not all is lost. But some question marks obviously coming out of week 3, going into week 4. Bryce Young, by all accounts, very composed and poised for his first game on the road like that. I realize they played in a neutral environment in Atlanta, home away from home. To me, that doesn't count when you're playing a Miami team. You go to Florida, you go to Gainesville, you go to the swamp.
Right.
It's a different deal. I like the way that Bryce kept his composure. I like the way that he managed the game. Was it perfect at times? No. But even Nick Saban will go to his defense. A lot of the issues that we saw not on the shoulders of his quarterback.
Right.
I want to get your take on that. What did you see from the young man, Bryce Young?
For me, I feel like he has kind of like the Jalen Hurts syndrome. I love Jalen. Those are the worst players to play against. I played against Monte Ellis in high school. No composure. You can't tell whether he's happy or sad.
Poker face.
Poker face. But right now, I don't think they have elected a captain or somebody to bring energy. It's like when they score, they score. It's like there's no celebration. And I feel like that's the difference between last year and this year. Also, for me, I want to see him run a little bit more. So I think those are the two things that I want to see. A little bit more excitement, a little bit more talking. And that may not be his demeanor, but I think he has to light that spark. And when you spark, you get fired. And I think that has to happen.
I think the explosive plays, that's the one big thing that any coach in college football will tell you. On the offensive side of the ball, get those explosive plays. Right. On the defensive side of the ball, eliminate the explosive plays. And that's really kind of the name of the game and the key here. Alabama netted 91 rushing yards on 27 attempts. Robinson had 75 of those rushing yards. Just kind of from a run game standpoint, I'm with you. Get the run game going. Let's see more of the run game. Take some of the pressure off of Bryce Young in those instances. And still, we're kind of waiting for that key receiver to step up and do some big things. I think that at this point, I think Mechie was the guy that was kind of supposed to come in and sort of make waves and be that, replacement for Devontae and Jalen Waddle. You got Jamison Williams, who's obviously, playing really well right now,
right.
Putting up some yards. But I'm looking for like that key playmaker, that one or two guys that are going to go up, get contested balls, make those catches. And as of right now, I think that we're still kind of circling around that at this point in the season.
Yes. Everybody wants to be number one till it's time to be number one. And what I mean by that, when you're that number one guy, you get double teamed, and the real version of you has to show up. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you firsthand, I played with Julio, so I know what it looks like when you think You know, when it's time to be number one, you have to step up. But I think for them, they just got to get a little bit more. For me, I think a little bit more consistent. That's the biggest thing. Consistent on all cylinders. Be more disciplined. But the receivers got to make some plays. Got to make some plays. Got to move them chains. That's what I need to see. Move them chains, man.
Move the chains. All right, we're going to go to the defensive side of the football. Alabama playing Southern Miss. They come in as a 45-point favorite.
Jeez whiz.
And, you know, I kind of buried that because obviously Alabama's going to come in here. They're going to take care of business back home at Bryant-Denny Stadium. No big deal. But I think there's a lot of things that we want to see from this Alabama football team this week as they come back, try to clean things up, especially on the defensive side of the football. Look, Florida rushed for a total of 245 yards. Does that make you cringe just a little?
They did it with ease, too. It looked good. It was with ease.
You know, 440 total yards, 245 yards on the ground. And here's a statistic that I think is interesting. The Gators outgained Alabama by 154 rushing yards. That is the second largest differential versus Alabama under Nick Saban since 2007.
Who was in 2000?
Second largest. Second largest. The other one, I think, came against, I want to say it was Ole Miss, if I'm not mistaken.
Sound about right.
Also, the second time that Alabama has allowed 4 rushing touchdowns against Saban, and the other one came against Ole Miss. So,
Wow.
With that being said, yeah, I mean, what are some of the biggest key takeaways from the defensive side of football? Obviously, execution a big one. They got to tackle better, and to me, a lot of blown assignments.
Well, like you said, discipline is number one overall, but this SEC football, you're going to get different looks and principles. Like with football, it doesn't change. The only thing with defense changes are the numbers, and guys are not doing their principles. The guys are not doing those things, the small things. You got to be able to adjust. You're at Alabama for a reason. When they call on you, you have to make plays. So there are not really any excuses. Me, instead of just blitzing on third down, I'm probably going to blitz a little, probably mix things up, get a cornerback blitz. You got to get different looks. The different looks that you're getting on offense from Florida should be the same things that you do on defense. You know it's coming. Are you going to be prepared for it? So for me, assignments, like you said, blown coverages. Hey, man, somebody just got – I haven't seen any leaders yet.
And Nick Saban pretty much this week or after the game pointed out the intensity he didn't feel like was there. You talk about the intensity, and that goes on the defensive side of football too, the energy that this unit brings to the field. So the intensity wasn't there, and the mental errors. Those were the biggest things that he saw. And you know, you hear Saban reiterate mental errors time and time again. That's a big one. And so what happens, to me, the concern moving forward is, okay, you go up against Emory Jones. He wasn't the Anthony Richardson quarterback that everybody wanted to see, the mobile quarterback, the one that can light up the explosive plays. But what happens when you get down the road and let's just say, oh, Matt Corral, Ole Miss.
Oh, Lord.
One of the teams we're looking at, that's October 2nd, got that circled on the calendar, right?
Yeah.
What's that going to look like? How's that going to go down when you have to defend a guy like Matt Corral, who's a proven quarterback, who is perhaps one of the best quarterbacks in the league, if not in the country right now?
Assignment, discipline. That's the key words that come to mind. But I think Alabama as a whole, they have got in the frame of mind, we're Alabama, all we have to do is show up. And that's not going to cut it this year if you want to win the big games.
Yeah.
That's just a fact of the matter. You got to show up. And I think energy, I think how they practice, how they do everything, it has to match Coach Saban's intensity.
Yeah, and I love what Nick Saban said on his coaches show last week when he was with Jim Dunaway. You have to respect winning.
All the time.
Respect winning. I think that's a huge one. Alabama going to win this one, no problem. My prediction, 52-3. Again, the spread on that, 45. Alabama the favorite. I got them winning 52-3. Got to clean things up. I want to see the run game obviously pick up. Obviously, Bryce Young, those guys are going to take care of business. But let's just clean things up, get those explosive plays, and obviously defensively, I don't know if they're going to get the shutout, but I got Southern Miss scoring 3 on this one.
I got 48-3. The only reason I'm going down, because I'm scaling down, I'm looking at, the pattern. is I think he's going to be ready for the SEC play after this. So I think he's going to give his guys a little rest. So give me 48-3.
Smart.
It's guaranteed that I die a legend. Yeah, son God, homie, I'm reverend. Preach, just protecting my investment. Ask about me, integrity's not a question.